The Wars is a novel written by Timothy Findlay. Timothy Findlay is a world renowned Canadian author. His best work is The Wars. The Wars is about a soldier named Robert Ross. Robert Ross enlisted as a soldier in World War One. He was trying to do this to cope with the guilt for the death of his sister. Robert's mother blamed Robert for the death of Rowana. He was supposed to be taking care of Rowana, but he was, quote, making love to his pillows. Robert's Robert's relationship with his mother would shortly end. They would never speak after he comes back from the war. His mother blamed him for the death of Rowana. Robert begins basic training. The inability to kill has been a major liability for him. He believes that a war hero named Eugene Taffler can teach him. Robert believes Eugene Taffler may be able to teach him to have the will to kill another man, which Robert does not possess. Robert is shipped out. The journey is difficult and unpleasant. Robert is called upon to kill a horse that has broken its leg down on the ship's hold. He has no desire to kill it, but he's one of the only men armed with a pistol. He fires several times on the horse, but does not kill it right away. Finally, frustrated, he unloads the entire weapon upon it. Unsure it is dead, another man that Robert meets on board the ship, Harris, falls ill. Robert is also injured and relieved of his duties. He and Harris go to a hospital to recover. In France, Robert makes a friend named Rodwell. He creates a deep connection with Rodwell because he reminds him of Rwanda. Unfortunately, Rodwell was killed after he was mistakenly cremated. Robert is now experiencing trench warfare, the worst he will ever experience. After the fight, Robert looks up and sees an enemy German soldier. The German soldier sees him, but he lets Robert run away. In part 4, Julia Dorsey explains that Dorsey's home was converted into a hospital for soldiers during World War One. It is here that Robert recovers from his injuries sustained in part 3. Once again, he meets Taffler against patient at the Dorsey home. Robert is devastated to find out that Taffler has lost both of his arms in the war. While Taffler seems to be good in spirits, he ends up attempting suicide one day. As Julia comes into Taffler's room to give him some flowers, she finds him trying to rub his raw arm stumps against the walls and subsequently bleed to death. Various people, including Robert, respond to Julia's screams, and Taffler is saved. Robert heads back to battle in a small train. He gets hopelessly lost on the way and loses his pack. After many weeks of traveling in circles, he arrives at De Soleil, a mental institution. In the bathhouse, he is brutally raped by 4 men. Although he assumes that they are patients of the institution, he is saddened to learn that they are fellow soldiers. When he returns to his room, he finally receives his lost pack. He burns his only picture of Irwana as an act of charity, reasoning that it would be horrible for something so innocent to exist in such a preserved world. Robert then returns to the front. The Germans begin firing shells. Robert asks Captain Leather to let the horses out of the barn as they will die if the barn is hit, but Captain Leather refuses. Robert returns to the barn and asks his friend Devlin to help him release the horses. As Devlin runs to open the gate, Captain Leather comes out of the hiding and shoots Devlin dead. He then fires at Robert but misses. At that moment, 3 shells land. Soon everything is burning around Robert, even the horses are slowly burning alive. Robert finds Captain Leather and shoots him dead. Robert runs away as he knows he'll be court-martialed for disobeying orders. He finds a black horse with a black dog beside and an abandoned train. Before riding the horse down the track, he realizes that there are horses in the train. He frees 130 horses from the train and flees the area with them. As Robert is riding all the horses, a soldier stops him and tries to force him to return the horses. Robert shoots him dead. Robert is finally caught in the barn with the horses. The soldiers surrounding Robert set the barn on fire in an attempt to smoke him out. However, the doors of the barn are locked. Before Robert can open them, the roof collapses on him and the horses. Robert is saved but badly burned, and the horses and possibly the dog are killed. Robert turns down an offer of euthanasia from a nurse from Bois de Madeleine Hospital before being sent to England and tried in absentia. Since he could not be kept in prison, He was given leave to stay in St. Albans for long-term treatment. Juliet Dorsey remains by Robert's side until his death in 1922. Mr. Ross is the only member of his family to come see Robert bury.